Welcome.
Welcome to the Gaming with Scissors Podcast.
I love it!
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Gaming with Scissors podcast. I'm dying under the weight of crippling depression. I'm here, as always, with Sean Piper, the owner of NerdLifeTX.com.
Hey.
And Nick, a.k.a. Zero Ping. How are you, sir?
I am here, alive.
Awesome. I am your host, Matt, also known as Nitro Weezer 3K, which is what I prefer to be called, but nobody will call me that because when you make up your own nickname, you're a nerd and nobody will use it. So that's fun. You guys may have noticed that the podcast is coming out at a weird time. The other two episodes kind of came out in a timely manner.
You know, nobody noticed that. We're the only ones that actually listen to this.
Yeah, well, not according to my statistics. My statistics, Sean. My statistics tell me that other people are listening.
How many other people besides our moms listen?
We had one Frenchman.
That's definitely not my mom.
No. That's not my mom either. I assume he was a French man. He could have been a French woman. We had a person of the French persuasion, at least somebody who was in France. Either that or somebody with a Tor client. I don't know which one it was. But we did have somebody else actually listen from outside of the country this time, which was kind of sweet. But the reason we are kind of putting this out at a weird time is we actually had a full episode recorded along with another member of the Nerd Life crew. And our recording software just decided that one of the tracks, namely Sean's, just wasn't a thing. So we had like everybody else's audio, but Sean's was just corrupted to hell. So we couldn't make an episode out of that because it was going to be really awkward for me to try to cut around that. So this week we are still using the same old recording software, but we are also recording local. Yeah, we're recording backups. We're local tracks ourselves. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. So as usual, I want to go through things you did this week in gaming. Let's start with Nick, since it's mainly going to be switchtalk.jpg.
Yeah, I did spend some Breath of the Wild time. But I did hop on my Xbox One and played a little Fallout 4.
The worst one.
Cool. You know, I haven't beat it yet. So that's what keeps pulling me back a little bit.
So I want to say like 2, maybe 3 hours into that game. The first settler I met that sassed me that I couldn't immediately just blow away. I was like, F this game, I am playing this. Because if you sass me in Fallout, the whole fun of Fallout is I can blow you away. It doesn't matter who you are. But your first like little crew that you have to build their little like city with, you can't blow any of those people away. And it sucks. And if you do, they just come back to life.
Yeah.
And then they're still mad at you. They stay aggroed even through that. It's stupid.
It does sort of break it a little bit.
It's still a good game, though.
Yeah, they have a story to tell, you know?
I want to make my own stories.
Beyond that, I actually did grab the demo for Battle Princess Madeline. It's a Kickstarter that I'm actually writing an article on. It should be up by the time this podcast comes up. So
yeah, and that's interesting. That one is it's what, Ghouls and Ghosts, right? It's a throwback to that, but it was made because basically like a little girl said, "Daddy, I want to be in this video game." Somebody told her that girls couldn't or something. I don't remember. Something happened.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, she wanted to play a game. She said that she wanted to actually be in the game, and basically she told him that girls can't be knights because that's what she heard. And he said, "Oh yeah, well, what color do you want your armor?" So,
which is awesome. Like the story was behind the start of that is, I think that's going to push that over the top for a lot.
Oh
of
yeah,
people.
definitely.
Dude, and it looks just genius. Like the art style is amazing.
Yeah, I agree. And the music is actually, if you go through the demo, it's kind of interesting. It reminds me a lot of good Genesis music. Think like
yeah.
Castlevania Bloodlines sort of has that sort of sound to it.
That's cool. And she's helping with the design, right? Like she like draws a picture and goes, "This is a bad guy," and he goes, "All right, awesome, that's a bad guy," and then he just puts it in the game.
Yeah, not directly. I mean, he does actually update it. He uses them sort of as templates. He said they haven't totally, rooted out the possibility of a full of cat level, but
You gotta have that.
Little girls, you gotta have the kitties, right?
Well, and grown men too. You have to have the kitty.
Right.
It's the internet.
It is the internet. It will sell all the copies on the internet.
All
True
of them.
story.
So, all right. So, you playing anything else? More Breath of the Wild, I'd imagine.
Yeah, just a lot of Breath of the Wild. It's huge, and I'm one of those gamers playing Fallout, Skyrim, Oblivion, games of that nature. Like, I just like to kind of go
all
on
the same game.
Well, basically,
I guess I can't say anything because we've been playing a lot of like action RPGs, so
A lot.
they're all the same game too.
which there's nothing wrong with that. But
No.
my brother actually always complains about my obsession with those games because he wants me to play games with him, and he said I'm always into the Forever Alone games. So that's pretty much kind of the case.
Fair enough. All right, Sean, what are you playing? Or what did you play, I guess?
I played nothing. No, I'm playing a lot of Paladins for some reason. Like I have to either play Overwatch or Paladins. That's like my week to week transition for my competitive game. It doesn't matter. So again, it's playing the same game over and over again. But so I've been playing a lot of Paladins, and then Matt, I've been playing lots of, like I said, action RPGs. We've been doing some Diablo 3. I'm trying to get ready for the next season because I'm actually gonna partake. I haven't for the past 2 seasons, so I'm gonna do that. And I feel like that we're going to need to do the season in hardcore mode since that's the only fun. Well, I mean, we've been doing good so far in the little bit of hardcore that we've done. So, I mean, we haven't died yet. We're level 10? Something like that?
Yeah, well, maybe we should either make a video series or stream that because I'm sure it's going to be a nightmare on my part because I have never even beat the base game of Diablo 3. I don't even have the expansion.
We need to play it on really, really hard and do it in a hardcore mode. So there's lots of just screaming and panic.
It only lasts half of one video. The rest of it is just Sean being sad and lonely, and then it becomes a Forever Alone game, and then Nick will be there just playing Breath of the Wild.
Your head in the corner so it looks like a little angel, so everybody can see the representation of your death.
Just sad emo face. Just meh, I'm sad.
That's one of those games. I haven't actually played Diablo 3 since it came out. I think we beat it the weekend after it came out, if I'm not mistaken.
Because that was the first time you were allowed to play it because the servers were down?
Well, basically, yeah.
Shots fired.
But I had a LAN party the weekend it came out, and then a LAN party the following weekend, and we beat it, me and a bunch of my friends. So I kind of would like to revisit that. Let me know when you guys are going to play.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot better from when it first came out. They've done a lot of work on it, so it's a much better game. And I hate that it got so much flack when it was broken the first couple of weeks it was out, but the actual game itself is not bad. No matter how much people bash it, I still think that Diablo 3 was a good game, and it just suffered from the fact that it had that Diablo name on it, and the expectations were just unmeetable, in my opinion. No matter what would have come out, everyone would have been like, "Oh, it's not Diablo 2." All right. And
nothing can touch Diablo 2. Still to this day, nothing can touch Diablo 2.
Well, I don't know. I feel like Path of Exile is a really close contender to being.
Path of the Exiles is so overwhelming. It is so overwhelming. That's
why I love that game.
That arcing tree of abilities and all it is so crazy.
I love it. I love how overly complex and customizable that game is. And if anybody listening, if you like Diablo or any of those kinds of games, you need to do yourself a favor and just go out and play Path of Exile, because it's free, so that's not going to stop anybody. And it's just a quality game that is you can literally make any character you want. If you want a mage that carries a broadsword, or like I'm making a rogue that does like tons of like poison and lifesteal damage. He's like a chaos rogue. It's great. I love the game. That's it'll always be one of my favorite games, no matter what, just because there's so much stuff to do in that game.
Is there much of story behind it?
Yeah, there's actually a decent amount of story. I mean, it's not like, I don't feel like it's really interesting story, but it's there. I mean,
It's about as much as Diablo.
no, I think Diablo had a good, interesting story like halfway through, and then it just kind of got lost at the end.
Yeah.
But I think that Path of Exiles has a decent, you got to read. There's no voiceovers. That's kind of annoying. And if I want to read, I'd buy a book. No, I don't buy books. I don't have enough attention to read things, so
it's a lot of work, and there's big words. I don't understand them.
I'm not great with English.
I'm like, can I kill this guy or not? I can't. Okay, I'm out. I don't know what's happening. But yeah, it's a solid game, and being able to customize the hell out of your character is really awesome. And the other great thing about that is they have been still pumping a bunch of updates and stuff out into that. They just did like a massive update like end of last year that completely like changed the game. It was like crazy the amount of work they're putting back into this game. So
definitely good. And the last thing that I've been playing, just because for the sake of the website, I'm playing through Torchlight 2 again. Because I've only played these action RPGs, isometric RPGs or whatever, is because the only reason I'm playing Torchlight 2 is because we get more. I wrote a long time ago when Torchlight 2 first came out, I just kind of like half-assed writing this guide, right? And I put in some builds that I was using, not even like research builds. It was just like, hey, try these. This sounds good. And I started recording some videos, and I did like some character breakdowns for each of the classes, and then I just left it, and it kind of just like I never updated it, and we've updated the site like 15 times since then, and I never bothered with it. And we still get hits every day for that Torchlight 2 guide. I was unaware that people even cared that much about it. I mean, it's a good game, but I mean, once you're done with it, you're done with it. It's not like they're continuing to develop for it. So I'm like, whatever, I'm going to go back and I'm going to finish this guide. So at least these hits on the website that we're getting, they're going to be justified, and they'll actually have something to look at. So I'm going to work my way through it. I'm going to get some actual decent builds in there, and I'm going to try to shoot a video for every of the main story missions in the game, which is like a huge undertaking, but I don't care. I'm going to do it because I don't have anything better to do.
Maybe we should do a giveaway for Torchlight 2. I've actually got one in my inventory.
All right. Well, let's do that then. So what do they got to do to get it?
How about a hashtag RPGs? I don't know.
That'll be a bunch of randos. I don't know. Just do like a hashtag Torchlight 2 rocks. And what will we do? We're going to do another like 10 days, same as last time?
yeah, hashtag Lightnix Fire.
Lightning's Fire. Let's do that then. Hashtag Lightning's Fire. And we will draw at random a name who uses that hashtag at NerdLifeTX, and you can get a free copy of the game if you've never played it.
There you go. So
Done.
yeah, tweet us. Use the hashtag LightnixFire, and we'll all be happy. We'll all be joyous. Keep an eye out on our social media. We'll tell you the exact date it's going to end, and just make sure you at least make it. What is this? 13 minutes in. All you got to do is make it 13 minutes in. It's not like the Conan Exiles giveaway that
at the end when nobody listened to it.
Yeah, there was like 3 people that like wanted to be a part of that, but that's fine. We made it work. So, as for me, I played the same things Sean played because we played a lot of stuff together. But I also played a lot of For Honor, and got real mad because that's what you do when you play For Honor.
Only when you're bad at it.
You play it and you come up against guys who are just better than you, and it's so infuriating. It is. I don't think I've ever gotten so mad about somebody being better at me at something. Like usually I don't care. I'm like not competitive.
I hate everyone who's better than me. So it's
I don't care except for in that game because the beatdown is so severe when you're against somebody who can like just straight up whomp you. It's horrible. But Ubisoft is taking a beating right now, and rightfully so. For the amount of money that it would take to unlock everything in the game. And their basic response to it was, well, it's essentially an MMO, so you're not really supposed to unlock you wouldn't go into World of Warcraft and unlock everything for all the characters, right? Because that's what this is. And I'm like, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's goddamn Street Fighter. And there are people that unlock everything in goddamn Street Fighter. So get off your high horse, stop being money-grubbing a-holes, and just give us some of that stuff at a lower rate. Like, increase your drop rates, decrease the amount of money it takes for you, the steel, to buy things, and don't expect me to shovelware out $70 for your stupid steel to maybe get something I want. The upgrade system in that is such trash. And that's why I think it's so frustrating when people beat me, because I know that they've more than likely just pumped hundreds of dollars into the game.
Or they have nothing better to do and they play that game all day, every day, because I know there's lots of people that are like that.
Yeah, but that's why I like the Overwatch system, because with Overwatch, you're only as good as you are at the game. Like, you can't buy things to make yourself better. You're just only as good as you are at the game, unless you're using like an aimbot or something. And that's kind of why, like, I prefer that style of gameplay to the fighting games and a lot of the Ubi games, to be honest with you, because I have a love-hate relationship with Ubi. I really liked the pirate Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Yeah, I really liked the Black Flag. Yeah, so I really, really liked that. That game was super cool. That was the pirate game that I've always wanted. Like, I want to be able to sail around on my sweet-ass ship and board other ships and do whatever the hell I want. Like, it was sweet. I loved it. The Division, I have a lot of fun with the Division. I like running around with like a group of friends, like doing whatever. Granted, I joined that late, but I don't like having to give them a shit ton of money just so I can play the other piece of the game that's multiplayer, which is stupid. I hate it. I don't want to do that. I already paid you for the game. I paid you for it. It's dumb.
I agree.
So I have a love-hate relationship with Ubisoft in that regard.
Yeah.
I also played a game called Indigo Child. And if you're interested in what that is, you can go over to our site right now. I did a written review of it, and that's live now. But it's essentially like a game jam game that was made by one guy, and it is about like life and death. It's really interesting. You essentially just walk around. The controls are just move and this like weird beam power you can do that surrounds your body in circles. And you interact with people who are like in the afterlife, and then they're ghosts of, kind of where they died. You find their ghost, and then you have to reunite the two. It's really short. It's like 20 minutes. It's a game jam game, so it's not like something you're going to put a bunch of time in. But like the whole of everything about it, the story, not the story, but like the atmosphere, the sounds, the graphics. It's got this really cool visual style it's black and white, and it looks like it was hand drawn, and it's very smooth and kind of very artsy looking. The whole thing just pulls you in, and it's really fantastic. But if you want to read my review, it's up right now. Go check that out. And the game's like $2 or something. I think it's pay what you want. If you pay over $2, you get all of the developer's original code for the game, which is kind of neat.
So you can like customize it if you wanted to?
I guess, yeah. It's interesting. Like the way he handled it was really cool. But that's on itch.io, so itch.io. So I played that, and then just before we started on here, I bought a game called Vikings: Wolves of Midgard, and it is a Diablo clone.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise. Dude,
I need to buy it. What is it called?
Vikings: Wolves of Midgard. So I think it just came out like today or yesterday, because I cruise Steam every day. I go to like their released today games and kind of flip through them. It is a Diablo clone that is really simplified. You can't really customize your character as much as you can in Diablo. There's only two real characters you can pick from. You've got Shield Maiden or Warrior. Your customization options are pretty limited. It's a couple hairs, a couple facial features, tattoos, no tattoos. But then you get to pick what god you worship. And that's kind of interesting, because you can say, I worship, like, for example, I worship Loki. And Loki is basically like the god of dual wielding. So I get to dual wield any weapons, but I can use whatever weapons I want, but I'm only going to get bonuses for dual wields because I worship Loki. And I can...
How does dual wield equate to mischief?
It's really strange. Well, a lot of the skills are like, poison or quick stab or shoulder throw. Like they're like,
right,
kind of like sneak moves. Those are like your skill set kind of works like that. But instead of like XP or anything, you murder things and take blood from them, and then you sacrifice that blood to your god to get upgrades. So that's kind of radical. It's a really simple. It's a simplified Diablo. I played for like an hour. I don't know if I like it or not, but I'm thinking I might do like a review for the website. And I know, Sean, you and I will probably play together because I'm pretty sure there's co-op.
Holy balls! It's $40.
Yeah, dude, I bought it.
Oh,
yeah, it's so expensive. Yeah, dude. Yeah, for what it is, it's so expensive, and the reviews are all mixed on it. So we'll see where it ends up. I kind of have like a standing rule that if I can't say anything nice about a game, I don't review it, or like if I feel like I'm going to be too mean about it, I don't review it, or if I don't like it. Just because I don't think it's fair to like put a bunch of negativity out there about a game that somebody worked really hard on, even if I don't like it. I don't have a problem saying I don't like it, but I'm not going to do a long-winded article about how, you're the worst human being ever or whatever. So if you ever give us a game,
unless you're Philfish, then it's acceptable.
Yeah, well, that's Philfish.
That's a different story. Right?
If you ever give us a game and we don't review it, don't be offended. It probably just means that it didn't jive with our tastes, and we just, we couldn't find a good way to review it in a positive light. And that's nothing against you. It's just, that's how we operate. We don't want to be a bunch of rude a-holes. That's not to say that if something has a problem, we won't bring it up. It just works that way. So that's all the stuff that I've been doing this week. But there was some pretty interesting news. There's going to be a remastered version in HD of StarCraft coming out. And Sean, you are our kind of like resident Blizzard guy. Like you're the Blizzard obsessive of the group. So like,
is that my title now?
It is. Editor-in-chief, Blizzard boy, with an I.
Blizzard zealot.
You're the Blizz boy. Go ahead, Blizz boy.
All right.
Tell us all about this.
For a while, Blizzard has been hinting at the fact that they're going to be doing something with one of their classic games or a few of their classic games. They posted a couple of jobs. One was for like a developer, and then another was for like a 3D modeling artist, I think is what it was. Those are the two that I caught. And so, but the description said that so they're looking for some people to put on this team that could revamp some of these classic games. And so everybody kind of freaked out, and they're like, "Oh, what's it going to be? What's it going to be?" And my hope and everyone else's hope was that they were going to remaster Diablo 2 for the 20th anniversary or whatever it was. And or 15 year, 20 year, whatever they recently hit. And so that didn't happen. And instead, we're getting StarCraft Remastered, which is okay, I guess. I'm not a huge StarCraft fan. Like, I love Diablo. I love all of Warcraft stuff, and I like their old like classic games, like Lost Vikings and Rock and Roll Racing and all those. But StarCraft, it's big with a lot of people in esports and all that good stuff. So they're taking it and they're basically slapping a new coat of paint on it. The base graphics, like the models and stuff, they're staying true to the originals, and they are just upgrading them to 4K and adding a bunch of cool new features. I mean, I guess I am not like overly hyped about it. It's a thing, and I'm glad that Blizzard is taking the initiative to, kind of pay service to the fans, because it's something that tons of people all over the world play, and they're gonna, make it so you can play it on current machines. So that's cool. And the fact that if you can get the standard definition version for free when it comes out, so that's also pretty awesome.
The original version is actually playable on current PCs. I was just playing it about a week ago, direct downloaded from Blizzard's website.
There's something, I guess it runs into certain issues with specific hardware, I think, but they just patched last week, I think it was. They just put out a patch that fixes a bunch of bugs, and it switched it over to free, and they're also making it so the standard definition version is compatible with the new HD version. So if you have the old one, you can play with people that get the new one.
Oh, nice.
So that's good. That's really cool. And I think that's where Blizzard is doing things right. And that's something that they've been known for a long time, is the fact that they at least attempt to listen to their fans. They listen to the community. They don't always do what the community asks, that's evident with like Diablo 3 and, how long have people been begging for PvP, like a true like PvP, and it's still not there. But I mean, Blizzard they do have an open ear, and they like to give people what they want within reason. So I mean, this is how remasters should be done. This is how you reach into the vault and you end up pulling something out that is actually worth spending some money on. Where so many companies will just be like, oh, here's a remake of the game, and it's literally just like, oh, we took the original game and we just upscaled it, and it looks even more like garbage.
Yeah.
Well, that's happening with a lot of things. I mean, the Disney Afternoons HD collection, for example, all they're doing is they're just taking the NES port, essentially, and they're just upscaling it, and they're going to resell it. I mean, granted, $20 or whatever, it's a budget title. Yeah, which I get it. I understand that. That's kind of cool. But the only thing they're adding is like Time Attack and Boss Battle, which you're not doing anything at that point. You're just making it look, you're fixing the pixels so they don't look like complete trash on my HD TV. And you're adding in 2 modes that you just probably copy pasted the same code and just slapped the characters over top of it for each game.
It's just a disc with ROMs on it.
Yeah, essentially. Which just like there's such a cry for old and retro games to be remastered now, because we live in an age where, I mean, freaking Call of Duty 4, didn't that just get remastered?
Yeah.
God.
I mean, how that game, I remember that game being released. Like, how are we to the point where that needs remastered already? You know, but it's getting a remaster. Meanwhile, there's a lot of really old games that we would all love to see, you know, remastered. I remember seeing when they released on GameCube the original Metal Gear Solid, but they put the Metal Gear Solid 2 like first person view and stuff into it.
Twin Snakes.
Yeah, I thought that was the coolest damn thing I'd ever seen. And I love that. I would love to see more games kind of go back and do like a little bit of an update, especially considering the way that that Nintendo console sold. It's a machine with ROMs on it. It's essentially a Raspberry Pi, and they sold gajillions of them. Mm-hmm. And they couldn't keep them on shelves. So why do we have to have this conversation about whether or not it's a good idea to remaster something? You can print money that way. You know, as long as you have a good game in your pocket, you know, you can't go back and take something that was, you know, paying. Nobody's clamoring for an HD remake of Shaq Fu, right? but like, you know, you came to me, you're like, hey, we're going to redo Mutant League Hockey, and it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be in HD. Like, I would throw down a few bucks for that, but you have to find a good, fair price point for it.
There was somebody that was remaking Mutant League Hockey.
Yeah, but they wanted some obscene amount of money. I think it failed. I think, if I remember correctly, they wanted like an obscene amount of money for it, and they just realized that it was like way over their technical ability.
I thought that was just Mutant League football.
Was it football or hockey? I remember it was one of the Mutant Leagues.
I think it was football.
I'll still play Mutant League football. Give me that.
I think it got released.
Did it?
I think so.
Oh my God! Somebody Google that. We need to know immediately. Because if that happened, we have places to be, and we got to end this podcast right now. But yeah, I think that in some cases it's justified to do that HD remake and to get that money, and if it's what fans want. I personally, for the StarCraft re-release, I loved StarCraft when I was younger. I used to play it with all my buddies. My buddies were the kinds of guys that would set time limits. Okay, you can do whatever you want, no attacking for 30 minutes or whatever. And they'd have these massive wars. It was awesome to watch. It was great. But, I mean, am I like, oh my God, I'm going to pass out because StarCraft is coming out? No, I don't care that much. But that's, I guess that's just me. That's just how I am. But there are some games from my past that I would like to see, you know, come out in an HD version or come out in better quality. And again, these companies could just print money that way. I don't know why more companies aren't doing it.
Well, it's a matter of resources too, right? Yeah, you can dump a bunch of ROMs on a disk and release it, but do you go that route, or do you actually spend the time to like rebuild all the assets in 3D like StarCraft has, or just completely redo the game like Mutant League Football is attempting to do here? I did get a update on that. It looks like a demo came out, and that's what I'm thinking here.
Yeah, you can on their site, they have it up for pre-order for like $25 for PS4, PC, and Xbox One. Ooh, and you can get a collectible Genesis case. for 40.
Oh, there you go.
Well, you just sent me earlier that there's like a brand new game that's coming out that is like a clone of like Final Fight or one of those like
No, Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage. Yeah.
No, and they're actually releasing it on Genesis hardware. So it's not like it's a PC game that looks like it's a Genesis game. It's like it runs on the Genesis.
But it's so expensive, man. It's so expensive.
I think it was like $65 for the.
It's 65 is not terrible bad though.
No, it's not. And I think there's like a collector's edition or something like that that's like $85 or $90, which back in the day the Genesis games were actually fairly expensive.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I don't understand. Oh, I guess it's more expensive to develop that kind of stuff because all the plastic and the boards and stuff.
What was that RPG? Pure Solar, I think it was. That also came out on basically everything. It came out on the Genesis, I think, first, if I'm not mistaken. Have you ever heard of that?
No,
I don't think I've ever heard of it. Well, there was actually. Has anybody seen that there actually is a version of Halo that came out on the Atari?
What?
Oh yeah, I did.
Yes, somebody devved Halo in Atari code, and it's really crazy looking. It actually looks kind of interesting.
Yeah, that was like Matt Fries or Fries or something like that. It's Jeff Fries, I think. It's the guy who was actually in charge of the original Xbox project.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I'm curious to see what direction we kind of move here because there's a definite split right now between the AAA game industry and the indie movement. I feel like the indie games had like a big resurgence in like 2015. Like it was the year of indies. Like everybody loved indies in 2015. 2016, I feel like we didn't see as much of them. And 2017, we're seeing a lot of monstrous AAAs come out in the first part of the year here. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see where we end up in the long run as far as like style and like we were talking about those HD remake kind of projects, because the indies are trying to keep alive. A lot of indie developers use that like pixel art, or they feed on our nostalgia.
Love it, man. I love it.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I'm a fan.
I'm on a case by case basis a fan. I'm more about the genre of game than I am about the graphics for a game. So given the opportunity, I'm still, if you were like, hey, do you want to play Halo 2 or do you want to go back and play Resident Evil 1 on the PS1? I'm going to pick the Resident Evil game because I like horror games and I love that game with all my heart. So it just depends for me. I have to really like the subject matter, but there are some really cool like horror style 2D kind of games that are coming out that look really neat. And there's also a lot of really cool point and click adventures that have been coming out in the last few years that like bridge that gap between what a AAA and an indie could be, because they remind me of old LucasArts games, which were big. These were big projects by big teams. And now you've got like one guy pumping out a game that looks a lot like, Monkey Island.
Something they took a whole team of people back in the day.
Yeah. And it's really, really cool. And I love seeing it because, you can tell such just a wider range of stories when you have those options, and stuff like what Ubisoft is doing with that money hungry, like, yeah, you paid us $70 for this game, but we're going to need you to turn around and give us another 700 if you want to unlock everything. Shit like that's not going to fly when you think about an indie developer who's selling his game that might be even more solid because he didn't rush it out, even though it might not be like a third person action fighter like a game like For Honor is, but it might be a great game, a solid game, and they're turning around and they're selling it for $20. You have to remain competitive. You can't turn around and expect me to pay, $60-something for your game when I can turn around to somebody else and go, hey, you put out this really awesome game that's really deep. It's got great storytelling, great visuals, and I can literally talk to this developer one-to-one. He's charging me $25 for something you're charging me $70 for. Well,
it's also an overhead issue. You do have, with those big companies, you do have a team of people that you need to pay. And these indie studios, you have between one and like max like 10 people, these little guys, and that's why they can do what they do.
Well, plus they're sinking all their free time into it, right? They're basically donating their time for the project. Probably really undervaluing their time while they're trying to kind of prove themselves. So a lot of these are projects of passion. You know what I mean? They're trying to do the things that they want to do exactly the way they want to do them, and it does end up just costing you a little bit of money because they know they're unproven. I'm sure if they...
But for every one of those, there's a No Man's Sky.
Yeah, true.
I mean, that game is just now getting some of the stuff that they made a big deal that was going to be in it at launch.
Mm-hmm.
It's just now getting planetary vehicles and stuff. I don't know a single person that's still playing that game.
Right. Well,
I think I know like one guy. That's it. Like everybody I know that plays games, there's one dude that plays it.
Is he the worst person you've ever met?
He's fine.
I think that's a problem. To be honest, I think that's a bigger problem with the actual industry. If you look at it, a lot of games are coming out half baked. They're incomplete, huge day one patches. All the things that they were sort of promising in the trailers and at like E3 pressers and stuff aren't quite all there when they ship, or things are just really broken and unbalanced.
Or like when you never release your game and you charge people like $700 for a spaceship and the game's never going to ever come out.
Yeah.
Ever.
I don't know what you're talking about, Sean.
Star Citizen, huh?
We can have a whole show on why I hate Star Citizen and why that is just like a cancer on this industry. Oh, let's suck everybody's money up and then never deliver anything.
You know what? I was actually thinking about something that I think would be interesting if we found the Kickstarter projects that we backed or that we thought were interesting. Maybe we should do an evergreen list over on the site for everybody to kind of see what we're interested in and what we might be backing on Kickstarter, and not the amounts that we're putting into these projects, but at least see
maybe like the date that we donated, when it was expected to ship, and whether or not it actually ever did.
Right, and just leave it up as a, just evergreen. It just keeps growing. Just because I think that would be an interesting social experiment. 5 years from now, we look back on all the stuff that we kickstarted and go, well, nope, yep, nope, yep, nope. You know what I mean? Like, it would just be kind of neat to go back and look at that. So that might be something we should look into doing, just for, anybody who's listening. If that's something that you think that we should do and you'd be interested in seeing, just from an industry perspective, let us know. Just shoot us a tweet or Facebook us, or heck, leave a comment on this in a review, and we'll take a look at that, and maybe that's something we'll look at doing.
Yeah. Oh, and the Genesis game that I was talking about, it's called Paprium, Paprium. If anybody cares, I might have to. I'll post a little article about it and put the video up.
It looks really, really sweet. I loved Streets of Rage as a kid, so seeing that just made me go, like, I'm going to throw so much money at this. Wait, it's how much? It costs what it costs to buy things in For Honor. Never mind.
But at least you're getting the whole game, a quality game, and not just like a part of a sword.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not just getting a sword hilt for like $18.
That drops all your stats.
Yeah, I could buy an actual sword hilt for $18. Like, literally, I could go on eBay right now and buy a sword for $18.
You can go to the Sad Mall, to the Sword and Bong store, and pick up the your own sword hilt.
Yeah, dude. Hey, dude, that girl that worked there, she was having a great time. She's very excited about her life. She was just scrubbing out her weird, smoking device, not even making eye contact with us, just looking sad.
She's in the Sad Mall, so that's what it's about.
So, okay, real quick, I'm going to tell this story real quick. I know this is a gaming podcast, but you guys like us, so enjoy this for a minute. So Sean obviously doesn't live in the same state I do, and he came to visit me in Ohio. And I took him to our Sad Mall, which is like our mall that like doesn't have anything in it. It's Chapel Hill Mall, Nick. So you know where that's at, right?
Oh yeah.
So we were walking around, and like I was taking Sean to all these really sad stores. Like, we got like a game store in there, but that used to be a GameStop. Now it's like,
we'll call it a game store.
Yeah, now it's like Johnny's Big Game Emporium, and all they've got is like 17 copies of Jeopardy for the Wii. So you go in there,
you
and
get a bunch of stuffed animals too.
Yeah, we're just like, I don't know what's happening. It smelled bad. It was weird. So I'm taking Sean on this exploration. The only thing that they have in there that we actually wanted to go to was they have a really nice Hot Topic. It was like the first Hot Topic in the area. And a lot of the pops that Sean can't find in Texas, I can find in there because it's the junk mall, so nobody goes in there. So I can always find the pops that Sean's looking for if they're Hot Topic exclusives. So I took him in there, and we walked out, and we saw this other store that was just stuff. I don't know.
It was everything.
Yeah, like we walked in, there was all kinds of like, it was separated by like color. So like you just go into one area and it's just got like a bunch of Black Panther statues of like panthers like growling and stuff, and then just like a painting of like a raven because it's black, and then just like a black knife, and then just like some black silverware. And you're just like, why is this place separated by color? Like, what is happening right now?
We called it the internet, the store, because it was literally just like everything you could imagine. They had like bongs, and they had swords and dragons and American flags, and they had like crazy paintings, and they had just random clothes that no one would ever wear.
Right, like giant dream catchers that took up entire walls of your house, and
your whole room is a dream catcher.
yeah. It was like crazy. So Sean and I are like walking through there, and we're just laughing about all this shit in the store because it was absurd. We're just like, who is buying things from you?
Stuff? Why are they still open?
Yeah. Like, did you need 17 of the Black Jesus painting? Like, is there a big like rush on the Black Jesus painting in this place?
You only need
like,
one. What? Come on.
Yeah. So we're just like trying to figure out the store, trying to sift through all the like, mushroom shaped lamps and whatever the hell they have, stash boxes. And we're like walking past like the front of the store. Yeah. Incense that just smells like weed already. You're like, what? Doesn't this defeat the purpose? So we like walk past. Now, Ohio does not have legalized recreational marijuana, just so everybody knows. So we're like walking past the front of the store where like the checkout is, and there's just like this girl by the checkout who's like, we had just assumed she worked there. She was behind the counter, so I gotta assume she works there. But she's just like cleaning this bowl, just like hunched over it, like being real creepy and weird about it. And Sean and I just like look at her, and we're just like, hi, or whatever. She just stared at us and just went back to what she was doing. We're like, all right, neat. We just like walked out, but it was so uncomfortable. We just had to leave, and Sean took pictures of the store on the way out. And then we went across the mall there, and we actually found like a really sweet T-shirt that was just like a wolf with a bunch of muscles for a reason.
What did I name that wolf? Do you
I don't remember, but it was funny. But it was like Muscles Wolf. It was huge. It was just this jacked. It was like a wolf head on a human body. It was just had jacked arms.
But it was like Goldberg's sweet. Body. It wasn't like a normal body.
Yeah. It was like early 2000s WWF ripped muscle man body. It's crazy. It was absolutely
very
insane.
Very oily.
Yeah. It was a good time.
So I named him Wolfman Musselford. And I have it on our Instagram, so if you want to look up Wolfman Musselford, it was from like 10 weeks ago from today's date, so just scroll back a little bit. Oh, and then we found the the Freddy Krueger that was inside like the men's suit warehouse window.
Oh yeah, it was all creepy. We thought there was a guy standing there. This is like a Freddy Krueger suit in like this like suit store. They're just like, hey, you can buy this if you want to look like.
But it was like it's like a taxi cab driver hat, and the guy like it's just a bad mannequin. It looks like his face is all scarred up, and then he has stripes. It's not red and white. It was like blue and gold and gray and some like blue slack. But from a distance, it was creepy and it looked like Freddy Krueger.
It was at that dead end of the mall where there's nothing. Like the lights are all half off.
They're blinking and hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, that end where you might get stabbed anyway.
It's funny because I used the hashtag slashing prices.
We got all kinds of weird likes on that because there's so many weird bots out of the internet that are just going through liking crap for weird hashtags with it. So that's a good time. So yeah, so that was side tangent with Sean and Matt. You're welcome. Yeah. So speaking of closing stores, that GameStop, huh, guys? GameStop is closing 225 stores worldwide. I'm not surprised if I'm being fair. GameStop has not great business practices. I like the people at GameStop. Just like I still have a movie rental card, and Sean makes fun of me. He says that where I live is 1997 because we still have like video stores and stuff.
I want a video store where I live. They don't have any.
Yeah, so I like going in there, and like I made friends with the dude that works there right away, and I'm just like, hey man, do I get this movie? He's like, no, that sucks. He's like, get this, and then I like end up renting something crazy that this guy's like, yeah, just get this, and it's
You just like watch this now.
This is your life now. You got to watch this. It's just like this guy walking around with a giant pumpkin for a wiener, and then he just touches people and they turn to salt. And you're just like, what? He's like, yeah, it's deep. And I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna rent this movie. 10 out of 10. I'll make a movie podcast on this.
I'll take one copy of Pumpkin Wiener and Escape from the Surf Nazis.
Yeah, dude. Hey man, I'm pretty sure both of those are trauma movies.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
I love going into the stores and like talking to the staff there because they always have a really great, hey, check this game out. The last time I went to a GameStop, I actually found Way of the Samurai, which I play obsessively. I love those games. They're fantastic. I had no idea they even existed. And the guy was just like, play Way of the Samurai. I like it. It's like one of my favorite games. And it was super cheap, so I bought it and I love it. I miss that element of shopping for games, but at the same time, GameStop is just they are the Ubisoft of stores. Like they want to nickel and dime you for every single thing. They're overpriced for everything. Like Sean, pops are what, like $9 normally? Like they run between like what, 9 and 15?
Yeah, 15 for like Comic-Con exclusives, but like just like commons are going to be like $8.99.
Right. So you go in there and they're like 12. You're like,
actually ours is cheap. Ours usually has, if it's not an exclusive, so they'll be like between like 7 and 12. It just depends on like what they are. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to like how they price it. I mean, I'm sure corporate has some decision making power that we don't know about. That's magic, and so there's like some formula. But yeah, I mean, it's weird. I don't know why they do that, but yeah, some of them are like their exclusives can be like kind of crazy overpriced, more than the Hot Topic.
Yeah, and it's not just on toys. The games are that way too. You walk in there and there's a used game. It's like $25. You can go on to Amazon, buy it now new. It's like $23.80 or whatever, and it's
or $5.
Yeah, it's mind blowing to me that they're even still a building. And so, from what I understand, their long term plan is to essentially become like a geek goods store.
That's why they bought ThinkGeek.
Yeah, exactly. And I've noticed that ThinkGeek has gotten real weird with their marketing lately. And I was wondering if maybe that has something to do with it. Like they're a little more aggressive about their marketing. Their prices seem a little more janky. Like they're either really, really high or really, really low. And I can't ever figure out why they go one way or the other. So I'm wondering if that has something to do with it. But I have a hard time feeling bad for a place like GameStop. I feel bad for the employees, don't get me wrong, because the people who work at GameStop are awesome. I've never had a bad experience with an employee at GameStop.
There's some weird ones there.
Oh, man. Are we about to get into this? We need to hear Sean, tell us your bad story about GameStop.
No, I don't really have any. Well, I mean, walked into GameStop, had a bad time. That's my whole bad story right there. Just everything about it was horrible every day that I go in there, but I don't stop going because, there's not a whole lot of options.
Why? Does it smell like butts?
There's always like one guy that wants to like chat me up about all of the games that they sell, and he wants to go through every single game and want to know if I play it. And I just want to go in there, and I'm there I want to look, what do you have that's on sale? What do you have that's on clearance? I want to look at your toys, and I want to go, and I want no one to talk to me. But there's always some guy that has to come in there and wants to try to touch my hand, look at me. Like I can't have all this going on while I'm trying to look for my one pop that I'm hunting for that I'm never going to find, and I had to order from the UK so that I could at least have it, but they didn't have it. So this guy was trying to be handholdy with me, and I can't have it.
He wants to pee a circle around you and claim squatters' rights.
Squatters' rights is what it is, and I couldn't have that.
I was screwed by GameStop.
Everyone gets all the screws from GameStop.
No, back in
your story.
The 360, when it launched, I was one of the unfortunate people to pre-order it from GameStop.
Oh, yeah.
So pre-ordered the 360, did a full pay on it. I was ready to go. showed up a little bit early, just kind of look at other games, consider if I want to get any other games. Went to go order another one, and the guy's like, "Oh, so you're on the second shipment." They never said anything about a second shipment at any point in time, and I pre-ordered like almost immediately after the E3 announcement. I don't know if you guys remember that or not, but when the 360 launched, there were like 3 pre-order shipments that GameStop allocated out of their original stock that they were promised. And I did not get my 360 at launch due to that fact.
I would have lit a trash can fire.
I was so angry. I actually took time off because Oblivion was one of the launch titles, and I'm like, I literally took a week off of vacation. I'm like, I'm just gonna sit in my underwear, play eat Cheetos, and like play Oblivion for a week.
Cheetos E360 game.
Yes, exactly.
That's how you get a game podcast. It's just the games. That's the only way you know. Got to feel them going through you.
I was pretty livid. I believe my cousin also was on that second list. I told him to go check when I found out, and he got that unfortunate news. So
yeah,
that sounds like sad stories.
Yeah, it's not a good time.
I've never had a bad time in GameStop. Like, I've never walked in and had a bad time. The only like weird experience I've ever had is like I walked in after one of the Call of Duties came out. It was the space one. So it was recently, whatever that one was.
Space of Duty?
Yeah, Call of Duty in space. Call of Duty, we can't rip off of space shooties, so we're going to just try our best.
Was it Infinite Warfare? Was that
Sure.
it?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely it was. Whatever you want it to be. That's exactly what it was. So I went in there and I was picking up like one of the old Batman games on PS3. Like I was just kind of piecing through just older stuff because
you're just trying to waste your money is what you're doing.
Well, I was just wasting time. I think I was waiting on, I was at lunch or something at work and I was just messing around because I worked right around the corner from a GameStop for a long time. And they were just really like pushing this Call of Duty, man. Did you get Call of Duty? We still have copies available. Did you get your Call of Duty?
Because nobody wants it.
Well, and I finally just was like, no, if I needed a coaster, I would buy a coaster. And the girl was just like, what? And I'm like, nothing. I just want to buy this. I was so just done with it. But I could tell she just didn't know how to handle me because I just said, no, if I needed a coaster, I would just buy one. So that was a good time. But I also... Does anybody remember Funko Land? Did you have Funko Land out there, Sean?
I do remember Funko Land.
Well, so that would have probably been when I was like maybe like middle school, right? So
yeah.
I didn't live here. I lived in the Northwest. I lived in like the Seattle area.
Oh, okay.
So, and I don't ever remember anything like that. For my games, I always went to Toys R Us when I was really little.
Oh man, Toys R Us. I remember I got my I still have my original Game Boy, like the big gray monster. And I remember getting that. I think my grandma got it for me after it had been out like a couple of years. She got it for me for Christmas or something. And she paid for it. And then they just took one out of stock at the store near me and called my mom and said, you can come pick it up. I remember going in there and picking that thing up and just being amazed. Like I was just so amazed. I was like, this is the future. I could take Mario in my car. I can do whatever I want. And now the Switch is out and I'm just like, I don't want to play. I don't care. My cell phone's better. I don't care. I use my bathroom time for Facebook. Like
you'd rather play Infinite Runners in your toilet time than play some Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, except for that Mario Infinite Runner because that thing can piss right off.
That's a fun game.
I'm gonna give you $10 for that.
Oh, I played the first 2 levels for free over and over again. And I'm the best in the world.
Yeah, that can die in a fire. In just all of the fires. But GameStop, it kind of feels weird because it is an institution for anybody who really loved games and grew up without the internet in a weird way.
Like us.
Because we had, and when I was in high school, I got the internet I didn't even have high speed when we first got internet. I had dial-up for a long time. So we didn't even have real internet, and there wasn't websites where you would just go and buy this crap for all you young people.
You barely have the internet right now, so
yeah, compared to Sean. But don't worry though, because the people who represent us in DC have decided that nobody needs ultra fast internet. I beg you to give me ultra fast internet. I will find uses for it.
And
I will use all of the internet.
You'll save the world.
I will. I will solve so many issues.
So much Sudoku.
in high school, I had bulletin boards. Do you guys know what those are?
Yeah, like it's like a forum, right?
Yeah.
You're way older than me, so I don't know. But I think I know what it is.
Yeah, I had like a 286 with a 2400 baud modem, and
I don't know what any of that stuff is.
it's a really, really, really slow modem. Yeah, there were a couple of local bulletin boards you would dial in, and there can only be so many people online at once, and you would have the sysop there. And you can leave messages for other people. You can meet people in chat rooms. You know, there would be like 24 people total on the bulletin board. And there were some games that you could play online, like Legend of the Dragon and things like that. And that pretty much is what kept me going back. But
they were all text-based, right?
Oh, yeah, they were MUDs. So,
yeah. Garbage.
But that's all you could do on your CGA monitor, though. So.
Again, I am not that old.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that would have been awful to live in the time before Christ. That would have been terrible.
I ain't got no video games. Where are they at?
Yeah.
So it's funny. It's funny you were talking about Infinite Warfare because I was reading I guess it was the CEO from GameStop was blaming underwhelming sales for a specific franchise as the culprit or one of their woes for why they weren't making their targets.
Yeah.
And everybody's kind of like, well, it's probably Infinite Warfare, which that's ridiculous though. How can you base an entire like franchise of stores on selling one horrible game and one game that hasn't been good forever?
Well, because that's one of those series, you print money. You know people are going to buy it. But GameStop is in that business now of being like, get the GameStop exclusive gun. You can only get it here. And if you don't get it, your friends are going to laugh at you. And your wiener's going to be tiny. And nobody will date you. And you're like, oh,
well,
no.
That's going to happen because you're playing lots of Call of Duty anyway.
Yeah, oh, no. If I don't buy this version of Call of Duty, I'm going to suck at life forever. But people are starting to get to the point where they don't care. And the people that do care.
Because if you wait 6 weeks, you're going to be able to get it DLC, kind of like what happened with WWE 2K17, where everybody was super pissed that all the Goldberg stuff wasn't a store exclusive. They eventually made it downloadable.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things, right? You know, if you keep on that route, it just turns into CS:GO, right?
Yes.
I mean, people just stealing their mom's credit card to buy a fancy, shark skin Magnum or whatever the hell they do on there. I don't know.
For $200.
Yeah, whatever. It's garbage. But they also, with those recent releases about the culture of the company, talking about how, if you don't sell X number of used games, you're the worst employee and we're going to sacrifice your dog to the devil. Like, get out of here with that shit, man. Like, I will never understand that way of doing business where you're going to pick a specific thing and be like, this is what you're in charge of. This is what you need to sell. Only this. I don't care if you're really good at selling everything else. I just need you to sell this. That's all I care about. I don't get it. Am I still making you money? Yes, then fine. That's what I do. I made you some money. You're welcome. You're welcome that I made you money. But they were just not very good to their employees, on top of all that. So you did it to yourself, man. I don't feel bad. You did it to yourself. And you have to adapt to compete in the space that places like Amazon are competing in. Yeah. Because they're talking about, Black Friday sales and specialty sales and stuff. Amazon was just killing it. I'm like, they've got free 2-day shipping. I can get that thing in 2 days. I don't have to come to your store. I don't have to hold some weird guy's hand. I don't have to I don't have to lick a window. Whatever I got to do to get in there to buy the stupid thing. And sometimes if there's not exclusives, if I'm just picking up, the RE7 house box set, which I still want, by the way, and I don't have, and I'm really mad about it. If I want to buy that, there was nothing in there that was a GameStop exclusive. I could go and buy that online right now. Why would I not just buy that online and have it shipped to my house with 2-day shipping the day it came out, as opposed to coming in there and buying it from you? It doesn't make any sense.
Amazon's business model's actually been putting the hurt on them too. I mean, if you can go on and pre-order a brand new game for $47.99 because you got Prime, you get free 2-day shipping, and that typically means you get it the day that it's launched elsewhere.
Sitting on my doorstep when I get home from work.
Yeah, why are you not doing that? You don't even have to go to the mall.
Nobody's touching my hand. I can just walk to my door and get my game.
And you're saving money because they're taking a hit on it. So
right. Well, and on top of that, if you've got like one of the Amazon cards, you're getting 5% cash back on that too.
Yep.
So,
and now depending what city you're in, you can get, like, for me, I can get next day shipping from Amazon.
nice.
we have an Amazon place we can go pick it up at.
Yeah, there's a brick and mortar.
Yeah, it's a brick and mortar, but you can't go in there and shop. You just got to like tell them online what you
Distribution
want.
center or whatever.
Yeah, and then they just have it at the front. And you just go in there, and some guys is like, "Hey, I'm Jack Amazon. Here's your package." You're like, "Awesome, man." He's like, "Go away." And you're like, "Okay, got it." And then he's leave.
Yeah. Fuck you, everyone else. I'm going to Amazon. Wait in their parking lot.
I'm so cool. I pick my online orders up at a brick and mortar store. It doesn't defeat the purpose at all.
I don't believe this delivery. No internets. I just call them up.
I just call up Bruce Amazon and I go, "Hey, Bruce, y'all got any copies of that For Honor in there?" And he's like, "Yeah, a lot, because nobody bought it."
We got all the copies. So
Of every copy of it. You're going to need to buy 2 if I'm going to come out of the back of this room, though.
That's the incentive right there.
Right. So,
But you get to hang out with Bruce, so it's worth it.
right. The Bruce Amazon. He's the man. His name is on the company, bro. Bruce Amazon.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. See, you don't have that in Texas. We're not as 1997 as you think. But to be fair, that store is located in an area that's lovingly referred to as, and I quote, Crackrin, Ohio. So, it's fine. It's fine. Akron's getting better. There's less people getting stabbed there than when I used to live there. So that's good. I mean, I think they're down to like 4 stabbings a week or something.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
funny.
lower than Ravenna.
I know, right? Good for them. But yeah, overall, I'm not that upset about it. It's hard to be upset. I don't want anybody to lose their job. I feel bad for the people who work there because it's going to be a weird battle to find something different because it was a really unique line of work, and their employees get some cool perks for working there. Like they can kind of like, if they have a used game in, they can kind of rent it and take it home and see if they're going to like it.
I don't believe they can anymore.
Oh, really? They can't anymore?
Yeah, when it was EB Games, they were actually encouraged to do that at one point. But they found that there was a lot of sale loss and some other practices that were kind of happening, and they put the kibosh on that.
Oh, so then why would you? I guess it'd be cool to just kind of hang out around games all day and just know everything that was coming out. But I would not want to sit there and listen to that totally rad dude tell me about the new game that's coming out all day on that speaker.
Yeah,
I
would drive me nuts.
I would lay down in traffic.
Yeah.
No joke. It would be the worst. So anyway, well, unless anybody else has anything they want to go over, that was the end of my topics. This is going to be a shorter one than usual, but that's because we had a full episode a week ago.
We're a little dead inside after losing it.
And the internet ate it. So that's a lot of fun. Yeah, that's awful. So just really quickly, Sean and I wanted to just talk to everybody about the podcast and how you guys can help us out a little bit. Sean actually found out that if you guys leave us an iTunes review, that actually really, really helps us out. It's going to move us up the ranks. It's going to get more people to notice that we're a thing. So if you guys could just leave a review on the podcast on iTunes, if you can, right, Sean? That's pretty much all we need them to do.
Yeah, they can go on there and just say something nice about us and give us 5 stars. That would be amazing. And then anybody else that has left a review, if you can just say that this was helpful, then that helps boost us up. And hopefully we can get up to the top of new and noteworthy. That would be amazing. I don't have hopes for that, but it would be great if for some magical reason it happened.
Right. So tell your friends, tell your mom, tell everybody. Don't
tell my mom because I said fuck.
Oh no,
she'll get mad.
Sean's in trouble. My mom would just roll her eyes at me and be like, "Of course you did," and then you put it on the internet because you're you. Yeah, that's exactly what she would say. We have a lot of cool stuff coming up throughout the year this year. Sean and I are both going to be at Geek Fest, and if you like the show, we are going to have some kind of a setup at Geek Fest. We don't know what it is yet, but you're going to be able to get actual copies of the podcast on a prize, like a little kind of trinket you can take away.
Are you trying to say jump drive?
Yeah, without saying jump drive. Way to spoil the surprise, Sean. You ruined Christmas.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to be giving away jump drives with little, with like the podcast on them. We think we might actually be doing some game giveaways that way too. So if you're in if you're in Texas and you know where CTC is and it's near you, the Central Texas area, definitely look for CTC Geek Fest and keep an eye on that. I think tickets are getting ready to go available for public purchase. But it sounded like Sean and I are going to be not only having a booth, but we're going to be running some, maybe some talks about podcasting and a few other topics, as well as running a few events. So if you like us, you like the show, make sure you check that out because it's always a good time. I went for my first time last year. This year I kind of planned my travel schedule around being able to come back for it this year because we had a lot of fun, hang out, eat some delicious food, hang out with people, say hi to people. If you like the show, you can come up and tell us. If you hate my voice, you can come up and hit me. So that's fun.
There'll be a punching booth.
Yeah, you just come up and just sucker punch me right in the old baby maker there.
The old mommy daddy button.
Yep, the daddy button. Perfect. And speaking of the podcast, we actually have a second podcast now that I host. It's going to have a revolving door of guests with me. The first episode is up now, and it was with Nick. It's actually a movie podcast. So Sean and I have a movie picked out we are going to do also.
Man.
Based on the Warhammer franchise, which is Sean's baby. I know nothing about it. I'm trying to learn. So
I'm still learning. It's new to me. I just like to obsessively purchase things, so that's why. And specifically, it's 40K. So I guess I should preface that.
Well, and we did find a coloring book today that dumbs it down to a level that we can almost understand.
Oh my gosh. I have to link. I have to put that up on the website. That is just like gold right there.
Yeah, it's perfect. But it is called the Nerds at Drive-In podcast, and it should be available on everything. So if you can, go ahead and check that out. The first episode is on a movie called Midnight Skater, which was filmed in Kent, Ohio, which is where I went to college, and Nick did some of his time in college, and also Nick lived there for a little while. So we have all kinds of fun stories about that.
He was squatting.
He just yelled squatters' rights at passersby, and they were just like, "What? This is the library." He's like, "Get out!"
My house.
And then, like, every time they thought they caught him, he just got in the elevator and went to a different floor because the Kent Library is like super huge. So he just like hid in there. Just him and F.U. Bob running around, which nobody's going to get that joke unless they hung out at Kent.
Oh my God, F.U. Bob.
Yeah, he's passed on now, but he was like a legend in the Kent area. He was like this older homeless guy that if you like looked at him, he would just stare right at you, and then he'd just give you the double middle finger for no reason. Like he's just like this grumpy, just old guy. Actually, in I believe Demon Summer, one of the movies that we actually reference in the Midnight Skater episode of the other podcast, they have a character modeled after him in that.
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
So that's kind of interesting.
Side note about F.U. Bob, he also was an excellent painter.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's
like
fun.
Painter of walls or like painter of paintings?
Painter of nude women.
What? So how does a hobo convince ladies to take their clothes off so he can paint them like French women?
I don't know.
I assume magazines. Just J.O. mags for days.
That's the ones he's painting. It wasn't even like real in-life persons who's just like, look what I found in that garbage.
He was just like, I'm going to take this picture of Mandy Moore. I'm going to put her on Oprah Winfrey's body and imagine that naked. You're just like, what? I don't know if I want to buy that.
You do want to buy it.
So, yeah, I mean, if somebody's out there, go ahead and make that, and we'll see. I mean, I might buy it. Goes to the highest bidder. That's fine art. You can't just be giving that out. So before we go here, I wanted to do a quick rundown of some articles that we posted over on the site, and we're going to have more than usual because, again, we missed a week. So I just put up today an article about Indigo Child, which I mentioned at the beginning. So you can go over there and check out my review. Sean posted the Spider-Man Homecoming trailer that just was released today. Today is the 28th for reference. We have an article about the remastered version of StarCraft coming out. We have an article about Chivalry being free for a limited time on Steam. Sean posted about the new Warhammer 40K models, the Death Guard, that will be released soon.
Oh, and they're so sweet. I got to buy them. They need to be out now.
They look awesome. They are really cool. They kind of remind me of like the Plague.
Plague Knights.
Plague Marines, but they're knights. They're all sweet looking. They're all green, and they just look like they're going to eat your face. It rules. Then we have the first episode of the Nerds at Drive-Ins podcast. Midnight Skater is up on there for you to enjoy. And we have the Nowhere Profit trailer review up. There's a really neat game that's coming out. It's a randomly generated deck building game, so that's kind of interesting. And Sean also has posted the Goat Simulator Waste of Space trailer. So lots of cool stuff over there. Make sure you go over to nerdlifetx.com to keep up on all the stuff that we are doing. That'll be most of our articles, but we also have social media. So, Sean, how can people follow the site and find you on social media?
You can follow me on Twitter at GWS Rancor, and every social media in the whole world, even ones I've never heard of or set up accounts for, you can look for at NerdLifeTX.
That's correct. So make sure you follow the page and you tweet at us to see if you can get that copy of Torchlight that we were talking about earlier.
Because everybody wants to play Torchlight.
They do. And again, if you want to play with us, we'll even play with you. You just need to tell us who you are. We'll play with you. We don't give a crap. We have no souls or, any inhibitions about talking to strangers. Obviously, we're just yelling into the void. That's basically what making a podcast is. You're just yelling at your computer in your own basement for an hour and 20 minutes.
Well, I can hear people in my head, so I'm yelling at them as well.
Right, yeah. Technically, we all can because we've got headphones on. The problem is when we take the headphones off, most of us still hear them. That's the problem.
They're still there.
They're still there. They're telling me to walk around. They're telling me to pee in the corner at the Walmart. Make sure you follow us on there. Nick, where can people find you and your writing?
I'm Zero Pring, so I can be found on the Twitters, Facebook at Z3R0PNG. Also can be found from time to time on Nerd Life and in these various podcasts.
Yeah, fantastic. And I am at Nitro Weasel 3K on everything. I've got Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, you name it, I got it. Also, I, again, host that second show, Nerds at Drive-Ins. That's going to be part of a bigger podcasting group here that we're hoping to get together. So for right now, temporarily, we're going to call it just the Nerd Life TX group of podcasts, but we might have like a more formal name later. But we're hoping that we can get a few podcasts out of this same crew. We actually are hoping to add a few more writers, and we might be able to squeeze some other topics out of there. We were talking about maybe a wrestling podcast coming out of this, which is cool.
Oh man,
yeah.
Maybe we should start that this weekend with WrestleMania.
Ooh,
that might be a thing.
Even though I don't have any idea what's happening, I'll be the color commentator.
I'll catch you up on everything. Don't worry.
All right, sweet. If you have an interest in us reviewing anything that you've made, and you can hold your horses on it because we don't know when we always get to these things, you can email us at info@nerdlifetx.com. And the same goes if you're interested in working with us on anything. So if you want to maybe write or you have questions for us or whatever, you can hit us up on social media or find us there. And it's not going to be hey, we're going to hand this to you process. And also our positions are unpaid. We do this out of the kindness of our hearts. We can't. Sean and I pay for the hosting for everything out of our pockets. So you're not going to be getting much except for free game keys occasionally. But if you're willing to put yourself out there for that, and you can write, shoot us an email or find us on social media and let us know. We'd be happy to talk to you. Beyond that, I think that this is going to wrap up another episode of the Gaming with Scissors podcast. We appreciate you stopping by and listening. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to leave us an iTunes review. Until next time, we appreciate you stopping by. Thank you and bye.
Bye.
Later.